And now it's time for Ninjago Shower Thoughts with Trainer KN, the part of the show where Trainer comes out and shares a Ninjago Shower Thought. Without further ado, Ninjago Shower Thoughts with Trainer KN.
Greetings, I'm Trainer KN, and this is a Ninjago Shower Thought. Speaking of thoughts and thinking, we're looking at Nero today, the Master of Mind. If you somehow don't remember him, Nero's that dude from the Tournament of Elements who first competed with the ninja, and then learned the truth about Chen and joined them, and then competed against them again, but not for real, but then became entranced by the idea of having the staff, and then it kind of was for real, but then he got captured and learned the value of friendship or something, and then joined them again. I don't even know what was going on, but yeah, that guy. I'm disappointed in him too. Now look, I understand that an element as powerful as mind kinda has to be nerfed in order to keep it in check and all, but in my opinion, they went too far. Of course, the best way to counteract an immensely powerful ability is by giving it to a flawed character. But come on. Him? Really?
You think I can get close to Chen to read his mind, so you can find your robotic friend and not have to fight? It's Nero, master of the mind, and Cole thinks Jay won't last long in a fight.
Bro thinks he's tough. I mean, this scene just has some problems. Nero starts by acting all wise and tough, but then he hits a total 180 and starts leaking petty personal secrets that divide the team. I think bro went to the wrong audition, honestly. Gossip Girl just missed out on hiring this dude. The real issue here is that he just invaded their privacy, and that's where today's sponsor can help you out. Do you ever feel... No, I'm just kidding. You really think I have the ad revenue or a pre-existing image to get a sponsor on my first video? Thanks, but there ain't no way. Now look, Nero starts the encounter by reading their minds, but then after he turns Cole and Jay on each other for, I don't even know, funsies or something, you're telling me he didn't already see what Lloyd had to share about Karloff losing his powers? Dude, you have one job. Anyways, I won't bore you with too much more of his involvement in this season, but just know that throughout the rest of Season 4, Nero appears to have to strain himself, concentrating every time he uses his power just to make it work. And honestly, I respect that story decision. Having to put a hand to the head in concentration and be within a few feet of the target is a solid choice for limiting the element, even if he kinda looks like a little kid trying to use the Force. Nero has also been held back by his own personal shortcomings, which honestly, that sounds great on paper, but the shortcomings that the writers chose to use make him seem more like a bit of a douche, and it really detracts from not just the character, but even liking the element as a whole. His desire for personal glory and gain, as showcased by his decision to quote-unquote be on the winning team, and temptation to win the Staff of Elements is understandable, but really just leaves an icky taste in your mouth for such a cold, calculating, and superficial dude. You know what? Thinking critically, I'd go as far as to say that he exhibited the same traits in Season 6.
But Trainer, in Skybound, Nero really only appears when we see him trapped inside of the gym blade.
Man, I thought the same thing, but it turns out we didn't actually even see him there. We only found out after the fact from Tommy that all of the Elemental Masters were captured by Nauticon. Now, I don't know what kind of fool it takes to be the Master of Mind and still get trapped in the Sword of Souls, but my money's on Nero after I heard about his goofy eye being trapped inside the Blade's gem. Now, Nauticon is cunning and all, but his entire plan relies on outmaneuvering and manipulating others, so I'm pretty sure the Master of Mind will have no issue with... Oh, wait a second. Dude, you're telling me that Nauticon pulled up and you were so incentivized by the idea of having wishes that you forgot to read his mind and recognize the whole plot? Nero was also seen as part of the Resistance in Season 9, but the only real significance he had here was manipulating some Sons of Garmadon's security by planting an idea in their brains to go do karaoke.
You're my darling angel. Girl, you're my friend when I'm in need. Lady, life is one big party with a stereo. Who's gonna have your mind when it's all done?
I get that the Elemental Masters added in Season 4 were really just extra fluff more than fully developed characters, but I hate it when they give us such a cool concept for an element and waste it on some poorly executed character. Nero would have been a much more compelling character if instead of focusing on his selfishness, writers focused on, I don't even know, having him overcome his emotions or something. I'm not saying they need to overdo it and put him in the wambulance or anything, but I think we could all relate to our minds and logical judgment being interfered with by our emotions. This would be the perfect story tool to explain how an elemental master can't tap into their true potential fully, or why they have to concentrate really hard. It would also knock two birds out with one stone, and help develop Nero's emotional complexity as a character, which would also make him more believable. Now, I don't really care how he get there. Maybe he had a traumatic upbringing, or his family was taken from him, or he's alone. Anyways, I just hate to see somebody who's supposed to symbolize intelligence be such a superficial douche. The point is that I'd rather have seen him deal with things that even wise people have to deal with, like emotional challenges clouding one's judgment. Being so for real though, I'm kinda just done with him. Everyone else is watching Season 4's little brother, Dragon's Rise in Season 2, with excitement about seeing new elemental masters with the return of a few old ones. That's cool and all, but low-key, I was just hoping they'd kill our boy off and bring in somebody with actual depth to be the Master of Mind. But no, they brought him back a decade from his introduction, same as ever, bland and feeble as ever, and didn't even give him much of a spotlight. Not that he deserves one or anything. For those who missed that absolute joke of a fight, he's fast enough to predict his opponent's attack, and is eliminated immediately. I mean, look at him in this moment. Look at him! Bro poses as if he thinks he's some kind of AT&T satellite dish looking downwards, to the only place he won't see his opponent, when his very element should guarantee sort of sanctuary-like foresight of Nox coming up behind him. I understand having a few static characters is essential to any story, but it would have been a lot cooler to have Shade or somebody switch roles with Neuro and play the "my daughter's an elemental master now" card on the ladder instead. But no, here's the quote-unquote smart elemental master, who looks like he took a break from presiding over the Galactic Senate and suffering through his midlife crisis to be here. But it was more of a useless disappointment than the legacy version of Jay's Electromech, and we all know what a disservice that was to the legacy set line, not to mention the original set itself. Now, I know that most of y'all don't know me, but I typically spend most of my time making Ninjago theories instead of blasting apart random side characters. Massive props to Nero for being such a good sport. Oh, wait a second. He's not real and his voice actor has much better characters to represent and advocate for, so never mind. Jokes aside, I actually had several more paragraphs of notes written out for a well-rounded, more ideal candidate to be the next Master of Mind, but this video is already more than 5 minutes long, and I don't really enjoy video editing, so I'm gonna tap out before I crash out.
This has been Ninjago Shower Thoughts with Trainer Kin. Tune in next time to hear Trainer say,
Weavy, you gotta believe me. Either Wu or his father is Raz's master.